Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor. Board of Commissioners, public meeting, Tuesday, December 15, 2015. The time is now 8:10. Pursuant to the requirement of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, notice of this meeting was published in the December 11th issue of the Nutley Sun, the Star Ledger, and the Herald News. A copy of this notice has been posted in the Nutley Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a copy is on file in the Municipal Clerk's office. Commissioner Tucci?
Here.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli? Mayor Petracco?
Here.
All present, Mayor, except for Commissioner Rogers, absent excused this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we move on to minutes, let me first apologize to everyone that I know we've been keeping waiting regularly before every meeting, but there's so much material to go over with everything that's going on in the town, so accept my sincere apologies. Madam Clerk, could you do the minutes, please?
Yes, Mayor. We have executive session minutes for October 27, 2015, November 5th, 2015, November 23rd, 2015, and December 1st, 2015. I need a motion, please.
Move it. Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli? Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to communications and correspondence. Commissioner Scarpelli?
I'm sorry. No, the communications
Oh, I'm
is the...
sorry. Yeah, I see a submission.
Okay, it's a submission for a social affair permit from the committee to re-elect Alphonse Petracco. The event will be held at the Starlight Dance Studio on Friday, January 8, 2016 from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. I need a motion.
Moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
I guess I'll abstain on that, obviously.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll move on to Commissioner Scarpelli.
I have various reports for 2015.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we have bills. Yes.
Yes, Mayor. We have Public Affairs, $204,312.76. Revenue and Finance, $2,896,380.80. Public Safety, $43,323.23. Public Works, $35,895.36. Parks and Public Property, $84,311.35. Total payroll, $794,971.44, for a grand total of $4,059,194.94.
Move the bills.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome, Mayor.
This evening have no introductions, but I see we have 6 public hearings tonight. This first public hearing is on behalf of the whole Board of Commissioners, which I will read on their behalf. The Board of Commissioner ordinance number 3326, an ordinance of the Township of Nutley, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of land known as 537 Franklin Ave, and also known as Block 3100, lots 28, 29, and 30, pursuant to the local land and buildings law. This is regarding the Ciccolini property that the township is purchasing. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address the board on ordinance?
Penny Landry, 135 Lakeside Drive. A couple of questions. What is the total square footage of the Ciccolini building that's being purchased?
Anybody else?
I don't have the exact offhand.
You have a guesstimate, an estimate?
It probably, I really don't want to guess, but it's probably 20 or 30,000 square feet.
And will the, after the
than
building is purchased, will it still be occupied by the Ciccolini business
Temporarily.
temporarily? And when do you anticipate them vacating?
We haven't discussed that with them. You know, they've been there in business for a very long time. We do not have immediate plans to demolish the building or things like that, so we're giving them the courtesy.
You
to
said
want-
immediate plans to demolish, so there are plans to demolish?
There is no plan yet to do anything with that piece of property other than to purchase it. Once it's purchased, is to look at the redevelopment of that and put in the requirements of what we would like to see there as a municipality.
And how will what we would like to see there be determined? Will the citizens have some input into that?
Be a redevelopment plan. It will, the plan requirements will be go through the planning board.
So the planning board will determine a redevelopment plan for the Ciccolini property that will then come back to the Board of Commissioners for approval?
Yes. What happens is just you're looking at an area of the law that's very complex, but at a very simple level, right? The desire will be that once we purchase the property, a portion of that land will be used to create municipal parking, which we strongly need up in that area. The remaining property will be subject to a redevelopment plan and a redevelopment agreement. So we will need an ordinance to declare it in need of redevelopment. Once we do that, we will need to create a redevelopment plan, which we do with a planner. And then once we agree to that plan has to be sent to the planning board so they can actually go through a review for compliance with our master plan.
So this would be the same process that we've
The
just
Roche,
been through with
similar to
Roche.
Roche.
Okay, great. And what is the total number of parking spaces right now?
That are there, Commissioner, would you have a sense of that? It's quite a few.
Quite a few. Okay. So will that immediately become municipal parking before the redevelopment plan goes into effect?
As long, yeah, we would want to open that up, yes. Once we have the ownership of it and they clear the property, we would be able to open that up, yes.
And when do you anticipate ownership?
Probably at the earliest, given the fact that we are now authorizing to move forward on the purchase, you actually sign a contract, go through the contract process. The closing date probably would not be sometime until early February.
And the owners have accepted a purchase price of what?
$3,425,000, excuse me.
And will they stay as tenants there and pay lease to the township?
They don't intend to, from my understanding, and we would negotiate this. We said if they had felt that they want to stay there longer than a couple of months, we would negotiate terms with them. But I don't know if that's their desire.
And was there a commission paid on this brokering of this deal?
By the seller, yes.
Okay, so the seller paid a commission to their broker?
Yes.
Okay, and who was the broker?
Alan, I don't know. I don't recall.
You don't remember of the name of the broker that did the
We didn't deal with the broker.
as the buyer? I was in real estate, so there's two sides, the buying side and the selling side. And if there's a broker,
whatever the seller did with his broker, right? And I don't know the name of the company. His broker is Peter Scrivo, and his attorney is Bob Gascione. So we dealt through our town attorney with his attorney, Bob Gascione.
Bob Gascione was the
Seller's attorney.
Okay, all right. And it says in the ordinance that $161,000 is coming from the down payment for improvements fund. I looked at the budget and was unable to locate that fund. Did we allocate any monies in 2014 from the down payment for improvements funds? And where does that money come from?
It's a capital improvement fund. It's money that whenever we are going to purchase something or which requires capital requirement, not versus operating, there are expenses which are called Section 20 expenses that are around the purchase of bonds. That's what that fund is for.
And what will the total Section 28 expenses be to the township for this purchase? Is that the $161,000?
I think that's the down payment of it. I don't know offhand. Once we go through bond council, we'll know what they are.
You'll know what the Section 28 expenses
Full 28
are.
fee. 20.
And what is the bond interest, the percentage?
We don't have a bond yet.
Okay. What do you anticipate it being?
I hope to see it very low. The environment is very low. I hope to see it less than 2%.
Less than 2%?
I hope.
Because what the purchase of Franklin Ave, you said that the interest for that bond was 2.6%. How are you anticipating it going down under 2%?
The bond, the combined interest rate for the municipality is, for all of our debt, is on average 2.67%. It's not a specific bond that I was referring to in that conversation. Our current debt is roughly $13 million at over 9 years, on average at 2.67%. The current bond environment today, interest rates are currently less than 2%. When we go to bond this, and ultimately have to bond this, I anticipate we will do that in 2018. We will not bond it before then. Until then, we will use short-term anticipation notes where the interest rates are less than 1%.
So up until 2018, we'll simply pay interest on a note to purchase this property without a bond.
Exactly.
Okay. And then once the bond is what it says, Section B, the bond life would be 40 years. So at 2% on 3.3 million, what would be the annual interest that we'll be paying to purchase this property?
I don't have that calculation in front of me, and I don't have a bond yet to calculate that, so I won't speculate.
So until 2018, what do you anticipate the township annual interest cost being on purchasing Cicollini's?
The interest rate would be less than 1%.
Okay.
On whatever that borrowing ultimately turns out to be.
And what do you anticipate us borrowing? Because this bond ordinance, I would think, would say what we're borrowing,
Yes.
correct?
What we are going to do is to your specific point, we do not actually go out into the market and buy individual bonds based upon individual transactions.
Well, let's stick to the next 2 years, 2016, 2017, 2018. How are we purchasing Cicollini's during those 3 years?
We will purchase short-term notes.
Okay, and you anticipate those short-term notes being under 1% interest? Okay.
That's where the market is today.
Okay, so short-term notes under 1%, and you're looking at borrowing on these short-term notes roughly $3.3 million?
Roughly, yes. And the same thing will be including the additional monies that will go because of the purchase of the Davis property as well, which is the bike shop next to the middle school.
All right, and so until 2018, till the bonds, we're going to own a piece of property, or the bank will own it, and we're going to have revenue from metered parking, and that will be the only revenue for 3 years that we're going to be getting off of this property?
Maybe.
Maybe, okay. All right, and was an appraisal done?
Yes.
And what was the appraisal amount?
The appraisal was for $3,430,000.
And there was one appraisal?
There was an appraisal, and then there was an independent review of that appraisal done by a commercial appraiser in Bergen County.
And who was the appraiser?
The appraiser was Mark Hendricks, and the independent review appraiser was Ron Chiarella from Bergen County.
Ron who?
Chiarella.
Okay, I've looked at this a million different ways, and I just can't see how it's a great thing for the town. However, I do have great faith that at some point we will see something wonderful come out of that. I'd love to see it be some type of mass transit or something like that, and I'm just going to trust you gentlemen with our tax dollars.
I agree with you. If we
The
can,
last thing I do want to say is Section 6.
Penny, can you just give the commissioner a chance to answer your question?
Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
no, you made a comment. To the extent that we could look at transportation and transit, right, to the extent that that's possible, all of the commissioners are looking at that because of the nature of the way travel is changing. So the difficulty around that is the railroad tracks that come through our town aren't used for residential or commuter traffic. It's a freight line, and the track doesn't go very far beyond Newark, New Jersey. So it's very difficult to do that.
I do understand that.
And there was a plan, and I'm glad you raised it, because there was a plan on the part of the Department of Transportation where they were looking at establishing a train station, a new one, right at the convergence point between Route 3 and the Passaic River. They did all the bulkhead work, but until the third tunnel into Manhattan is completed, that project, which was on the boards, is actually delayed. So things like that we're always very sensitive to, because those would be very beneficial to the township.
Well, I just really hope that it's in this redevelopment plan. I know we're working out some of our Council on Affordable Housing issues, and that we really attempt to keep the non-owned, individually owned residential within check here, aka rentals. We're kind of
Absolutely.
going over the top with
You know
rentals.
what, Penny?
I just hope with the
No, to your
development
point.
plan.
To your point
that-
is a New York developer was planning on going into that property and redeveloping it with the expectation that he was going to build 3 floors over that acreage.
So we bought it to stop
So
development.
yes, absolutely. So part was that we would not, in this environment, be able to sit aside and allow that to happen, hoping that somehow we can create something reasonable by negotiation of the planning board or the board of adjustment. The best option was for us to, 1, act on it because we desperately need parking in that area, and 2, through the redevelopment plan, we can create something that then gives the municipality a lot of control over what it will be.
I just find it interesting that you say we desperately need parking, and yet you can't give me the number of parking spaces that exist.
Well, Penny, I'll tell you why I can't give you the exact number of parking spots that exist, is that it's unimproved in a lot of areas, and there's no parking spots that are there. There's just a parking lot. So to estimate how many spots without doing the engineering would...
But we bought a $3.3 million building, not being able to say how many municipal
so
parking
it's-
spaces we could anticipate put there?
Well, first of all, we don't know what the footprint of anything that's going to be there in the future. We do know that it connects directly to our municipal lot as it exists now.
Right.
So we'll be able to open up that lot. There's an unimproved land. There's land that exists beyond the fence that is also part of that lot that could open up more parking than is there now.
So you're talking about the municipal lot across the railroad track?
No.
No.
Lot 7, which is behind Bella Luce, connects directly to that property,
Okay.
So it'll
And
be an
that's a
expansion-
municipal lot.
municipal lot.
Commissioner,
Okay.
if I could
And do
just-
we have, is that meter?
Penny, excuse me 1 second.
Is that metered?
I'd just like to add something to what we're all saying tonight. The first point of view that I would like to bring to your attention is that all those local businesses always use that parking area there because Ciccolini would make a deal if they would lease some spots, all that, the things in the past that went on there. If a developer like Commissioner Evans, and Commissioner, I think you did an excellent job answering the questions, by the way, thank you for your input this evening. If a developer was to buy that, not only would we be in flux with more apartments, and maybe not the type of apartments that we want in our area on Franklin Avenue, but we would lose all the parking for those buildings, for those businesses that are there. So my point of view is this, just to bring to your attention, and whoever is watching this evening also, is that we've never really felt the direct impact on not having a parking lot there, because thank God Bob Ciccolini and his family have always been a team player and granted parking for those surrounding businesses. So to take that building and let it go to a redeveloper and not have a municipal lot there, to me, would be devastating. Not to mention, Commissioner Evans, you did forget one point. We had a study done here recently. What was the name of that company, Tom?
JGSC Consulting.
Right. And
What was the name again?
JGSC Consulting.
JGSC?
Consulting, yes. You were here when Mark delivered his report on his review of the business district.
So
Oh,
when
the
he,
survey.
right.
Okay, the gentleman who did
So
the
I
survey,
took-
what do you want in that
I
one?
did take time out of my busy schedule and I actually met him at my deli one day for an hour, and he was excellent. Wasn't good, he was
You
excellent.
did an excellent
It
presentation.
was excellent, and I'm glad we agree on that. And the first thing he said to me was
Parking.
that what you're missing in your downtown business district is parking. And even though you gentlemen sitting here this evening with me tonight might not think that our center of town is so attractive and doing so well, you are very much ahead of the curve throughout the state compared to what's going on throughout the state in Main Street, that a lot of them are failing. So even though we want better for our residents and for our business owners, we are doing better than the state average. But he assured us that if we don't grab some parking when we're able to do, it will not continue. You'll have it will definitely deplete itself. So as you said before with the parking, with Ciccolini saying that you entrust us, and thank you so much for saying that, but you're kind of confused why we're buying it. I can't see how we can't buy it. Now, we can sit here all night and answer questions and debate the price. The only thing that the Board of Commissioners can do with that is hire professionals, which we did. And we hired an appraisal, and then, as Commissioner Evans said, we took it the next step, and we got an independent review of it. So, as I said about the park systems at the last meetings, 1900s, when our forefathers sat up here and they made tough decisions, I'm sure there was a public outcry of, the taxes, what are we doing, why are we purchasing this property? I'm hoping that 50 years from now, Penny, people are saying, thank God these gentlemen that sat on this board in 2015 had the vision to take a step forward for this municipality.
I agree. Parking is
It's an essential part of business, and
Yes.
it's
Now, my
it's Nutley's detriment if we don't have it.
My question now is, given that we said this would probably happen in February, how long is it going to take to start actually using that as a municipal lot, and will it be a pay-for lot, like our other lots?
Well, I
where you
believe
put a
that at
quarter
that
in it?
time, we would turn it over to Commissioner Scarpelli, who does a wonderful job with the parking here in town. It'll be a meter parking, Commissioner, I'm sure. It'll take some time to repave it, stripe it, as Commissioner Scarpelli said before. And we're going to get right on it, Penny, because we really want, our town to flourish. And with the news of Hackensack and Seton Hall starting a medical school here, we want to be ahead of the curve. We want to make these improvements before that site is completed, so we can attract those people to our Main Street and help out our local businesses. And when you have a good downtown business area and business district with nice quaint shops and restaurants, we hope that's going to attract the millennials to then come and want to purchase a home. And that will then drive our housing market back up to where it should be. So it's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle.
And the budget for buying the meters and paving and striping and creating
Right.
a municipal parking lot, we do have monies that are coming from somewhere to make sure that we can maybe like have the ones with credit cards, because a lot of our meters do not work. I sit in front of meters and go, oh, please don't give me a ticket because I'm trying to put money in them and
Right.
it's not taking them. So
Commissioner Scarpelli
where
can
will
answer
the
that.
money come from to?
We have to bond the money. We'll bond the money. We have in capital already for some meters. We have money in there, so we'll be okay.
So part of the bonding of the money is this other resolution for $8 that other.
Not what I said.
No, there's a
We'll
total.
we'll get to it. But Penny, to your point is, we maintain a capital plan, management plan, that allows us to bond between $1.2 and $1.5 million each year as part of managing what are
And what, 1.5 and what?
between 1.2 and 1.5 million every year. By doing that, it actually keeps our debt service flat. We don't get big aberrations. Each of the commissioners manage their way through that. So as part of that annual capital planning process, what we would need to sort of stage the conversion of meters, because when we would plan it out, we would do it in phases. Commissioner Scarpelli would include that as part of his annual plan.
Perfect. Last thing, Section 6 of this ordinance states, said obligations shall be direct, unlimited obligations of the township, and the township shall be obligated to levy ad valorem taxes upon all the taxable property within the township for the payment of said obligations and interest thereon. So, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that means that you're going to add an ad valorem tax on all of the Nutley properties for the payment of the obligation of the Ciccolini building and the interest until there is a bond. Is that correct? So the taxpayers' taxes on ad valorem tax on their houses will actually pay for it until there is a bond, correct?
I appreciate your statement. Each year, the operating budget, the tax levy, includes an amount for debt service, principal, and interest payments. We will include, and all that provision says, is that to the extent that you need to charge for interest, collecting money for the interest, that is saying you're allowed to charge that. You include that in your budget, your annual budget, to the taxpayers.
So in the budget, meaning the amount of taxes that are levied against
Correct.
each individual homeowner. You're saying you have the right to now add an ad valorem tax onto each of the homeowners of Nutley to pay for this interest,
But it would
correct?
not be a separate tax. It would be part of the.
No, I mean,
property.
our taxes will increase in order to cover this
And
until there is a bond.
as it relates to this item,
Huh?
taxes will not increase.
But if you add in the additional $6 million from Roche that we're not going to be getting in 2016, the likelihood is that taxes will again increase in 2016, and then...
As I said, as it relates to that item in section 6.
Yeah, and I'm relating it to the big picture of
I know.
taxes.
You changed the nature of the question.
Commissioner, if I may, why I don't understand your statement that with the Roach property, we're not getting money from the state for
Well, no,
taxes? Maybe you heard something.
The assessed value, it was a statement Mr. Evans made when in 2013 it was X, 2014 it was X, 2015 it was Y, and the anticipated was $6 million for 2016.
Right.
So that hasn't been, there's been nothing to replace that yet. I mean, we don't know what the payment in lieu of taxes is going to be for Roche. There's no real development there. In all likelihood, I know we're getting there, but in all likelihood, we haven't made up for the loss of Roche, which will be, as Mr. Evans said,
But the future
million.
looks
And now
very bright.
we're spending $3.5 million on this building, almost $1 million on the Franklin building, where we haven't recouped the losses from Roche.
I appreciate
and
your
I
comment.
appreciate the long-term vision. I truly do. I just am concerned about all the people right now who are struggling with their current tax rate and looking to see if in next year, if it's going to be higher or lower, and I really don't see it being lower. It would be great if it stayed the same. But given that we don't have anything really done yet, and it's not going to happen in the next 12 months.
Yeah, but Penny, the point you're missing is that regardless, Hoffman Roach has left here.
Yes.
Okay, and that we can't change. All we could do is work very diligent with the state, as we all have done up here, and keep applying for state aid, that transitional aid, which Commissioner Evans has taken the lead on, and we could keep striving to make Roach a better campus than it was. But to your point, we can't sit back here as your leaders, as your elected officials, and not be proactive with the town because Roach has exited. We have to we have to keep marching forward and do the best job we can for the future generations that are going to live here. And by doing that, we have to still make it attractive for people to want to come in and purchase our homes.
Agreed.
Which I think we've done. So
I'd like my property value to go
but
up.
Penny, let me say this, because in business, if you're staying still in business, you're going backwards. And we take the same philosophy, as at least I do, okay, that we're not going to sit on our seats and watch it go by. We're going to be proactive, and we're going to do something to make sure that our township flourishes. And hopefully 50 years from now, people are going to say, you know what, thank God those guys had the insight. Or maybe 50 years from now, they might say, you know what, those were the 5 guys that, you know, the town didn't work out, all that stuff. But no one could ever say about the 5 commissioners that sit here is that we weren't proactive and we didn't swing the bat. You know, my feelings are, and I don't want to be long-winded, if anybody wants to jump in, feel free. You know, our surrounding communities have deteriorated somewhat. And there's been a lot of talk about the school system here. It's not what it was, and it's overcrowded, and, you know, Nutley's not what it was in the 70s and all that stuff. Well, I could assure you, Penny, I am not going to sit on my behind, okay, and not do anything about it. We purchased the Davis bike shop. People are saying, well, the schools aren't what they used to do. Well, if we do nothing 10 years from now, guess what? It's not going to get any better. So we have to take a proactive approach, swing the bat, buy some properties, and hope for the best. And we have to do it wisely. And we have to look out for our taxpayers while we're doing it, which I could assure you this board does. But we're not going to sit on our heels here at all and just watch our town deteriorate. And we wanted to make a commitment to you and all our taxpayers that we're going to do it responsible.
As I said, Mayor, I do appreciate that, and just looking at it, attempting to make it make sense for me right now in the current economic climate of Nutley. That is the reason why we have a public hearing, so that people can come and find out what the motivation, what the intent, what the long term, what is the vision. Because prior to this, honestly, we've had very little information. We've not had a mayor's message. We've not had a Board of Commissioners statement about this. And so,
Penny, let me say this to you.
And people, I'd like to finish. And so people are left talking amongst themselves or making individual calls. But I'm talking like a public forum to discuss these things.
Our meetings are televised. It's true. It's a public hearing. And I have to tell you, I'm pretty convinced. I have a store in town. I see over 300-400 people a day. And it seems to me that, yes, people are concerned about their taxes, and they're at their brinks, and we keep up with it. But I'm convinced that people are pretty happy with what we're doing here, because if they weren't, this courtroom would be full tonight, Nutley residents. And our message is getting out there because the meetings are televised, as you know. We made a giant step. Commissioner Tucci took the lead with that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Tucci. Great job. And you know what, Penny? Look, the one thing I could tell you that I've learned working with this Board of Commissioners, and this statement is regarding Commissioner Evans. When I first got on this board 8 years ago, I was very concerned about the taxes, and I still am today. When I met with Commissioner Evans several times, taxes are not just high in Nutley. It really is a state of New Jersey issue. Commissioner Evans has talked to me about Passake's tax rate, which is higher than Nutley. Is that correct, Commissioner? Okay, so all our surrounding communities, it's not like it's this here in our town that these taxes are off the charts. It's really a state of New Jersey problem. We are in one of the highest states in the country when it comes to property tax. We manage this money, we spend it worse than we spend our own, because we know our people are at their max. But again, if we do nothing, Penny, nothing's going to change here. Nutley is a beautiful green ball surrounded by, some communities that are not striving, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep it that way.
And
thank you.
That I don't pay taxes. I only pay them here. So my concern is only here in Nutley. And Nutley is a great town.
Thank you.
I would have left a long time ago if I didn't love it. I wouldn't be up here if I didn't love it. My concern is for Nutley and Nutley only. Not at a state level, not at an Essex County level, just at a Nutley level.
Okay.
So I appreciate your bringing the state and other towns into it. But I want you to know I come here because I love this town. That's where I pay my property taxes.
And we
it's
do
where I
too, and we
live.
live here also.
And as I said before, I wanted to understand this purchase a little better.
Right.
And what I learned today, which I did not know before, was that the same process that was followed for Roche, i.e. a redevelopment plan, is intended for the Ciccolini property. And I was not privy to that information through any, being at the meetings or anywhere else, that was part of the plan. So I learned something. Now, I can only hope that as part of this redevelopment plan, that payments in lieu of taxes or other such things are not part of the redevelopment of the Ciccolini property, and that it truly adds to the tax base of this town. And I am trusting the 5 commissioners that they will do what's in the best interest of the people of Nutley from a property tax standpoint. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone this evening that would like to comment on 3326? Seeing no one, move to close the public hearing.
Move it.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Oh,
Okay.
excuse
Commissioner,
me,
we
we
have
have to move the ordinance? Move the ordinance?
Ordinance, Commissioner.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye, with just a clarification. I think it's very important for everyone to recognize that, yes, we have written down the asset at Hoffman LaRoche. Today, in 2013, that taxpayer paid $9.8 million to the Township of Nutley. Today, that taxpayer pays roughly $4.1 million worth of taxes to the Township of Nutley. We have worked directly with the state and have secured $5.5 million worth of aid to supplement that burden. So if you look, we've been able to manage our way so far. And while we recognize that write-down, an asset that was originally $9.8 million, today is now $9.6 million. I think, in given everything that's going on, I think we're doing, as a Board of Commissioners, working very hard to manage that burden. And it's because of those things that is actually allowing us to take a long-term view, Mayor, to address some of your points, so that we aren't hamstrung by the short-term nature of some things that, if we didn't have that, would put this town in terrible crisis. So the fact that we've been able to manage our way through that to this point, secure that for us, that benefit, we are able to maintain a longer-term view and therefore take advantage of things that are vital. And I would echo what you said, vital to the economic well-being of our business community by providing that nature of that parking. So I just wanted to clarify. Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you. Okay. I see that we are deferring ordinance number 3327 tonight, and we will move on to Commissioner Evans with a public hearing.
Yes, 3331 relates to, and this is for the Board of Commissioners, just not for me. This is authorizing us to issue bonds specifically for the purchase of the Davis property, which was previously adopted. As discussed in the earlier public comment period, we will manage the short-term nature of the purchase with temporary notes seeking a bond in 2018 timeframe. In order to move ahead with the purchase legally, we have to have the authorized debt capability on the books, and that's what this ordinance does.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to comment on 3331? Seeing no one?
Need a second?
Second.
I think we need to open the public hearing. You did? All right. Okay, great.
No one?
Close it. Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond ordinance 3332 on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. authorizes the issuance of $3.5 million in bonds, $3,333,000 in bonds, very consistent with ordinance number 3331, which provides the authorization for us to purchase.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to comment on ordinance number 3332? Seeing no one?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
I have,
We need to move the
I
ordinance.
move the
oh,
ordinance.
sorry, move the ordinance.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you.
My last ordinance is for elimination of parking for a short curb parking spot on Franklin Avenue, just north of Harrison Street.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to comment on ordinance number 3333? Seeing no one?
Move to close.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Tucci?
Yes, this is an ordinance authorizing the sale of some public property. We have these small landlocked strips in various places in the town that by law we can offer to adjacent property owners, and what this ordinance does is enable us to do that.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to comment on ordinance 3334? Seeing no one, Commissioner?
Move we close the public hearing?
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Move the ordinance?
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Okay, that takes care of the ordinance public hearings this evening. On behalf of Commissioner Rogers, Commissioner Scarpelli, you'll read his resolution?
Yeah, and then I'll go right into mine, Mayor, if you don't mind.
Aye.
That's a resolution for agreement between Northwest Essex Community Healthcare Network and the Township of Nutley. Whereas the agency has agreed and functioned in the past to provide behavioral health care for the residents of Nutley, and will continue to provide said services in accordance with the terms and conditions of this agreement. Whereas Nutley has agreed to make annual grants of funds for the partial support and maintenance of said services rendered by the agency to Nutley residents. Whereas it is hereby agreed that 1, the agency will furnish and provide behavioral health care services to residents of Nutley by professionally qualified personnel and will cooperate with other Nutley community programs which deal with the provision of said service. 2, for services rendered by the agency described here, 2, during said contract period, January 1st, 2016 to December 31st, 2016, Nutley agrees to pay the agency a grant in the amount of $10,000. And 3, payments on account of the obligations set forth above shall be semi-annually to the agency on June 30th, 2016 and December 31st, 2016, in the amounts of $5,000, totaling the sum of $10,000 for the year. Whereas the funds will be available from account number 601-118-200 in the amount of $10,000 will be certified by the Chief Financial Officer. Said certification be subject to adoption of the 2016 municipal budget. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the mayor and the township clerk be and are hereby authorized to execute an agreement with Northwest Essex Community Healthcare Network. And be it further resolved that the parties hereto have caused these presents to be executed by their respective mayor or officer and attested to by their respective municipal clerk or secretary and their official seal to be affixed hereto. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
I abstain.
Commissioner Evans? Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas pursuant to NJSA 4067-23.2 and required by law, the township has elected to provide municipal services to Cambridge Heights as Nutley Umbrella Associates. In the same manner, the township provides such services on public roads and streets in the township. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners Township of Nutley and the County of Essex as follows. 1, the mayor be and is hereby authorized to enter into a 2016 municipal service agreement in the association in a form approved by the township attorney. 2, a copy of the resolution, as well as the municipal service agreement shall be placed on file with the clerk, and a notice of this action shall be printed once in the Nutley Sun. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas the Township of Nutley issued Resolution Number 33915 on November 23, 2015, stipulating a bid opening date of December 16, 2015 at 3 p.m. prevailing time for the Park Avenue monopole co-location lease. And whereas the Township of Nutley desires to extend the bid opening date to January 28, 2016 at 3 p.m. prevailing time. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Township Clerk is hereby authorized to advertise for sealed bids for the Park Avenue monopole co-location lease in the Township of Nutley to be received on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, the Commission Township Hall, 1 Kennedy Drive, Nutley, New Jersey, on Thursday, January 28, 2016 at 3 p.m. prevailing time, at which time they will be open and read. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, New Jersey, that in accordance with provision of RS 40A4-58, the following transfers of appropriation in the 2015 budget be and are hereby authorized and approved. From street lighting, $40,000. From weed and leaf removal, salary wage, $10,000. From sewer salary and wage, $3,000, for a total amount of $53,000. To road repair and maintenance, other expenses, $53,000. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I guess we will move on to Commissioner Tucci.
Yes, I'll read, if it's okay, Mayor.
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers' second resolution.
you.
Be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, New Jersey, that in accordance with the provision of RS 40A:4-58, the following transfer appropriations in the 2015 budget be and the same are hereby authorized and approved. Department of Public Affairs. From Department of Health, $18,000. From Animal Regulation, other expenses, $9,000. And from Garbage and Trash, $100,000, totaling $127,000, going to the Department of Health, other expenses in the amount of $27,000, and the Capital Improvement Fund in the amount of $100,000 for a like amount of $127,000. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas the Township of Nutley has a need to acquire professional service as a fair and open contract pursuant to the provision of NJSA 19:44A-20.5, and whereas the Department of Parks and Public Property has a need to acquire specialized professional services for emergency and non-emergency tree services, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Township Clerk is hereby authorized to advertise for sealed bids for the emergency and non-emergency tree services of township trees throughout the town. Bids to be received on Thursday, January 7, 2016, the Commission Chambers, Township Hall, at 3 p.m., at which time they'll be publicly opened and read. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas Township of Nutley has a need to acquire professional services, a fair and open contract pursuant to the provision of NJSA 19:44A-20.5, and whereas the Department of Parks and Public Property has a need to acquire specialized professional services for a qualified tree pruning service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Township Clerk is hereby authorized to advertise for sealed bids for the pruning of township trees throughout the township. Bids to be received on Thursday, January 7, 2016, the Commission Chambers, Township Hall, at 3 p.m., at which time they'll be publicly opened and read. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas Township of Nutley has a need to acquire professional service as a fair and open contract pursuant to the provision of NJSA 19:44A-20.5, and whereas the Department of Parks and Public Property has a need to acquire specialized professional services for a qualified tree removal service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Township Clerk is hereby authorized to advertise sealed bids for the removal of township trees throughout the township. Bids to be received on Thursday, January 7, 2016, Commission Chambers, Township Hall, at 3 p.m., at which time they will be publicly opened and read. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas Township of Nutley entered into a contract with Advanced Mechanical Corp., 173 Franklin Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey, for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration services. And whereas the General Supervisor of the Department of Parks and Public Property has recommended the following change order from said contract. Change order number 1, services in the amount of $9,392.01. Whereas money is available from Capital Ordinance number 3294K and has been certified by the Chief Financial Officer, said certification being attached to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Township of Nutley, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that change order number 1 for $9,392 be and is hereby approved. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas Township of Nutley has a need for analog copper lines for existing alarm systems and departmental fax lines, and whereas NJSA 40A:11-5F permits the award of a contract without bidding for the supply of any services which are public utilities subject to the jurisdiction of the BPU, and whereas the proposal from Princeton Hosted Solutions in the amount of $30,622.88 per year will result in a savings of $16,800 to improve quality and is recommended by the Township's Office of Information Technology. And whereas the term of this contract extension is from July 2015 to July 2016, and whereas funds are available from account 510-237 have been certified by the Chief Financial Officer, said certification being attached to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Mayor and Township Clerk are hereby authorized to enter into a contract with Princeton Hosted Solutions for the provision of analog phone lines throughout the Township of Nutley. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley, County of Essex, New Jersey, that in accordance with the budget provision of RS 48:4-58, the following transfers of appropriations in the 2015 budget be and same are hereby authorized and approved. Department of Parks and Public Property. From the group insurance plan, $160,000. From other insurance, $70,000. From park salaries and wages, $33,000. From recreation other expenses, $18,600. From communications salary and wages, $1,000, and from Shade Tree salaries and wages, $6,500. 2, capital improvement fund in the amount of $230,000. Parks other expenses in the amount of $19,000. Public buildings and grounds other expenses in the amount of $7,000. Recreation other expenses in the amount of $18,600. Communications salary and wages in the amount of $1,000. Shade Tree other expenses in the amount of $6,500, and workers' comp in the amount of $7,000, for a total moving from the accounts noted, $289,100, going to the accounts noted in the like amount. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you. Whereas the Township of Nutley in the County of Essex has from time to time and will from time to time issue tax-exempt debt, including without limitation bonds and bond anticipation notes. And whereas in connection with the issuance of tax-exempt debt, the Township is required by Section 149E of the Internal Revenue Code to file with the Internal Revenue Service an information return for tax-exempt governmental obligations known as 8038-G. And whereas the most recent revision of Form 3038G requires the Township to report whether the Township has established written procedures to monitor and ensure compliance with certain requirements of the federal tax law relating to its tax-exempt debt. And whereas Bond Counsel for the Township has prepared written procedures to monitor and ensure compliance with the requirements of federal tax law relating to tax-exempt debt, which procedures are attached hereto as Exhibit A. Whereas the Township is desirous of establishing such written procedures, now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley, County of Essex, State of New Jersey as follows. 1, in furtherance of the purposes described in the above recital and in connection with the issuance from time to time by the Township of tax-exempt debt, including bonds, bond anticipation notes, the Township hereby establishes procedures to monitor and ensure compliance with federal tax law, which procedures are attached hereto as Exhibit A. 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately. So move.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas this next resolution is the authorizing issuance of debt, which covers 2014-15, as well as the purchases of the Ciccolini property and the Davis property, of issuance of debt not to exceed $8,470,000 in bond anticipation notes of the township, and be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley the following. Section 1, bond ordinance appropriating appropriating $1,363,500 and authorizing the issuance of $1,295,325 in bonds or notes of the township for various improvements and purposes that were undertaken by the township and adopted in September 2nd, 2014. Section 2, pursuant to a bond ordinance of local unit bond ordinance providing for reconstruction of various roadways and sidewalks of the township of Nutley, appropriating $990,000 and authorizing the issuance of $940,500 in bond or bond anticipation notes, which was adopted on September 2nd, 2014. Section 3, pursuant to the bond ordinance for the local unit, bond ordinance providing for the reconstruction of various roadways and sidewalks, appropriating $825,000 or $783,750 in bonds or notes of the township, which was adopted on October 6th, 2013. Section 4, bond ordinance appropriating $1,346,730 and authorizing the issuance of $1,279,393 of bonds or notes for various improvement projects authorized by the township, that was adopted on October 6, 2015. Section 5, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of the land, appropriating $900,000 therefore, and authorizing issuance of $855,900 in bonds and notes, that was finally adopted on December 15th, 2015. Section 6, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of lands in the township, appropriating $3.5 million therefore, and authorizing issuance of $3,333,000 in bonds or notes for the township, adopted on December 15th, 2015. Pursuant to provisions of 48:2-26 of local bond law of the state of New Jersey, particularly paragraph F, therefore, and in lieu of the sale of more than one issue of bonds as provided for in said local bond law, the several issues of bonds of this local unit authorizing pursuant to the bond ordinance of the local unit here and above described in sections 1 through 6, inclusive, shall be combined into a single and combined issuance of bonds in the principal amount of $8,470,000. The Chief Financial Officer of the local unit is hereby authorized and directed to determine all matters in connection with said notes not determined by this or subsequent resolution, and signature of the Chief Financial Officer upon said notes shall be conclusive of such determinations. The Chief Financial Officer of the local unit is hereby authorized to sell bond anticipation notes from time to time at the public or private sale in such amounts as the Chief Financial Officer may determine at not less than par, and to deliver the same from time to time to the purchasers thereof upon receipt of the payment of the purchase price plus accrued interest from their dates to the date of delivery thereof and payment therefor. Chief Financial Officer of the unit is authorized and directed to report in writing to the governing body at the meeting's next succeeding date when any sale or delivery of notes pursuant to this resolution is made, such report to include the amount, description, interest rate, maturity of notes sold, the price obtained, and the same for the purchasers. The Chief Financial Officer of the local unit is hereby authorized and directed to do all other necessary matters necessary, useful, and convenient, or desirable to accomplish the delivery of said notes to the purchasers thereof as promptly as possible, including preparation, execution, and dissemination of preliminary official statement and final official statement of the respective said notes, preparation and distribution and publication, if necessary, of a notice of sale with respect to said notes, execution of a continuing disclosure undertaking with respect to said notes in accordance with Rule 15C 2-12 promulgated by the Security and Exchange Commission, and 3, execution of any arbitrage or use of proceeds certificates certifying, among other things, the local unit, to the extent it is empowered and allowed under applicable law, will do and perform all acts and things necessary or desirable to ensure that interest paid on said notes not included in the gross income under 103 of the Internal Revenue Code as amendment. All actions, therefore, taken by the township official and professionals with regard to sale and award of notes is hereby ratified, confirmed, and adopted and approved. This resolution shall take.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas PL 2015-C63 extends transitional aid to localities to those localities experiencing financial distress caused by the destruction or loss of a major business rateable. And whereas the Township of Nutley County of Essex has experienced an unprecedented erosion of its property tax rateable base due to the departure of the Hoffman LaRoche property, the municipality's largest taxpayer, and whereas the Director of the Division of Local Governmental Services is authorized by state budget to award transitional aid to local government units experiencing financial stress due to rateable losses, and whereas after an application submitted by the Township, the Director has determined that the municipality meets the necessary criterion of this transitional aid program, that an award of $5.5 million of transitional aid is appropriate in accordance with the criteria set forth in the state budget. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley County of Essex, New Jersey, that the Mayor, Township Clerk, Chief Financial Officer are hereby authorized to execute the attached memorandum of agreement for the receipt of 2015 calendar year transitional aid to localities between the Division of Local Governmental Services and the Township of Nutley. So move.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Treasurer be and she is hereby authorized to authorize refund of overpayment of tax charges for Block 5901, Lot 2 for $91.05, Block 1803, Lot 12 for $102.64, Block 8304, Lot 6 for $2,228.39, Block 4801, 34, $2,623.83, Block 9700, 10-C0228 for $1,209.69, and for Blocks 5702-18 for $2,485.96 for a grand total of $8,741.56.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Whereas the tax collector of the municipality has previously issued tax sales certificates to the U.S. Bank customer TLCF 212A LLC for Block 50120 and Block 8102, Lot 16. Whereas the purchaser of the aforesaid sales certificate has indicated to the tax collector that said they have lost or otherwise misplaced the original tax sales certificate and have duly filed the appropriate affidavit of loss for the with the tax collector, and now therefore be resolved that the tax collector of the municipality being is hereby authorized upon receipt of the appropriately executed and notarized loss affidavit and payment of a fee of $100 per certificate to issue appropriate duplicate tax sales certificates to the said purchaser, covering the certificate loss as previously described, all in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 99, Public Laws 1997. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution and the loss affidavit be attached to the duplicate certificate to be issued to said purchaser, and that said duplicate certificate shall be stamped or otherwise have imprinted upon it the word duplicate as required by law. So move.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley County of Essex that in accordance with the provisions of RS 48:4-58, the following transfer of appropriations in the 2015 budget be, and the same are hereby authorized and approved. From Information Services O&E $1,000 to Information Services Salary and Wage $1,000. So move.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Be resolved in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975, the public meetings of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, are held the first and third Tuesday of every month. Please take notice the public meetings for the year 2016 will be held on the following dates at the Township of Nutley Municipal Building, 3rd floor, Commissioner Chambers, 1 Kennedy Drive, at 7 p.m., at which time formal action may be taken. Please take notice the governing body of the Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey may require an executive session at any given meeting listed below in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12. The governing body will adopt a resolution at the open meeting indicating the reasons for going into an executive session. No action will be taken in executive session. Please take further notice the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley will hold an end-of-the-year meeting on Friday, December 30, 2016, at 9 a.m., Township of Nutley Municipal Building, 3rd floor, Commission Chambers, 1 Kennedy Drive. Formal action may be taken. The dates of our meetings. Council, do you want me to read this, or?
You don't have to, Mayor.
Okay, they're listed. If anybody's interested, our town clerk could furnish that information. I move the resolution. Second,
Second.
gentlemen?
Second?
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex State of New Jersey, that Alphonse Petracco and Kathy Rumperskeski be appointed as representatives of the Community Development Block Grant Committee for the term January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. Move the resolution.
Second?
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Before I vote yes, I just have to say that even though I'm on there, Kathy Rumperskeski does a wonderful job, takes the lead, and I barely do anything to help her because we have such a qualified person in that position. And all kidding around, Kathy, thank you for your help through the years with this, because you really have made a lot of improvements in that grant money. Thank you so much. So I vote aye. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the following days shall be considered paid holidays. 2016 schedule is as follows: Friday, January 1st, 2016, New Year's Day; Monday, January 18th, 2016.
Mayor, I don't think you have to read them all if you don't want.
Thank you so much. I move the resolution.
Second?
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that the following newspapers are hereby designated as the official newspapers for advertising for the Township of Nutley for the year 2016. The Nutley Sun, the Star Ledger, and the Herald News. I move the resolution.
Second?
Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Whereas raffle applications have been reviewed by the following organization: Nutley PBA, number 33, Civics Association, license number 49-15, off-premise 50/50 cash raffle for Saturday, May 7, 2016. Nutley Music Booster Association, license number 50-15, on-premise 50/50 cash raffle Saturday, January 23rd, 2016. Nutley Music Booster, license number 51-15 for a turkey tray Saturday, January 23rd, 2016. The Nutley Music Booster again, license number 52-15, off-premise merchandise raffle, Saturday, January 23rd, 2016. Whereas the applications have been reviewed and approved by the municipal clerk and the police department, now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Township of Nutley County, Essex, State of New Jersey, that the aforementioned license are approved and the municipal clerk is authorized to issue the license. I move the resolution.
Second?
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Whereas public hearings regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program were held on November 24th, 2015, and December 7th, 2015, at which time application for grants were accepted. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Nutley County, Essex, State of New Jersey, that the Township of Nutley shall apply to Community Development Block Grant monies for the year 2016. Be it further resolved that the Township of Nutley submits the following applications for funding. Number 1, Hancock's Ave reconstruction and resurfacing from Passaic Avenue to Union Avenue, amount $232,651,000. Number 2, handicap accessible path at Glotzback softball field, $26,250. Number 3, handicap accessible path repair and addition at the Miro Park, $40,500. And number 4, Bayard Street reconstruction resurfacing from Hancock to Conover Avenue, $99,956. I move the resolution.
Second?
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Whereas the Township of Nutley Police Department needs to acquire proprietary software for the issuance of electronic tickets through mobile computers as not unfair and open contract, and whereas the use of electronic ticketing increases efficiently, enables officers to return to service faster, eliminates data entry errors, and auto-populates citations with the appropriate statute number, fine, and court information. I'm not going to read this whole resolution. This is regarding e-ticket. It's resolution number 378-15. I move that resolution.
Need a second?
Yes. Commissioner Scarpelli.
Thank you. Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Whereas the Municipal Court Township of Nutley wishes to purchase a Savin C3003 color digital copier system from an authorized vendor under the State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program, and whereas the purchase of goods and services by local contracting units is authorized by the local public contracts law, NJSA 40A:11-12, and whereas Atlantic Tomorrow's office, 134 West 26th Street, 3rd floor, New York, 10001, has been awarded the New Jersey contract number A51464 for reprographic equipment for the period of 5/1/02 to 12/31/15. And whereas the cost of the purchase of a Savin C3003 color digital copier system is $8,512, and whereas the utilization of this contract is recommended on the grounds that it represents the best price available, and whereas funds are available from accounts T-15-909-99-911 and 5-01-325-212, and have been certified by the Chief Financial Officer, said certification attached to this resolution. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Board of Commissioners Township of Nutley that Atlantic Tomorrow's office be awarded a contract for purchase of Savin color digital copier system in accordance with the contract A51464. I move the resolution.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans? Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye. Thank you. That concludes our business portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk, will you please read our 5-minute rule that we are going to try to adhere to this evening?
Yes, Mayor. All persons addressing the Board of Commissioners regarding community concerns should approach the microphone and provide their name and address for the record. Unless further time is granted by the Board, each person shall limit their address to 5 minutes. All remarks to the Board and its individual members must be addressed to the Mayor. The Mayor may defer citizens' comments to the appropriate member of the Board. Dialogue between citizens and others addressing the Board shall be allowed unless the Mayor or presiding officer or the majority of the membership of the Board shall determine that the interests of decorum and/or the expeditious conduct of municipal business are being adversely affected by such dialogue.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address the Board of Commissioners? State your name and address for the record.
Penny Landry, 135 Lakeside. Point of clarification on Resolution 360-15, which authorizes the issuance of not exceeding $8,470,000 in bonds. Given that this is a resolution for 2015, and in the previous, during the passing of the ordinance, you said that the bonds would be passed in 2018. So could you please explain?
It simply, as you clarify, you'll see in there, it says for bonds or bond anticipation notes. So it allows us to do the bonds, the notes, the short-term notes in the interim before we bond.
Okay, so these aren't actually bonds, they're the short-term notes prior to the bonds,
Exactly.
even though it says authorization of
Yeah,
notes.
it says both.
Okay, great. And the only other thing is, Mayor Petracco, number 378-15, authorize a $45,000 contract for e-ticketing.
Yes.
Is this new software? Because we had a resolution purchasing e-ticketing software last year. So is this additional?
No, this is actually housekeeping for 2015.
Okay, so the only e-ticketing software that we've bought is for $45,000.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else this evening that would like to address the Board of Commissioners? Before we close, there's one thing that I wanted.
Mayor, you have someone there?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Commissioners, residents of Nutley. My name is James Irwin. I reside at 40 Jefferson Street, Hackensack, New Jersey. For the record, I work for North Jersey Media Group, which is the parent company of the Nutley Sun, and I have done business with the mayor through advertising for one of his establishments in Lyndhurst. The mayor does not know I'm here today, and neither does my job. I am here on my own accord as a resident of the state of New Jersey. I come before you this evening with pleasure. I go to many meetings for the last year and a half. People now know me as the smoking guy. I'm the smoking guy. I'm the gentleman that goes from town to town in Bergen County, and now this is my first town in the great Essex County to come to ask bodies, governing bodies like yourself, to raise the age to buy tobacco and nicotine products from 19 to 21. Just a little background. My mother retired from Inglewood Hospital Medical Center for 45 years, where she worked as on an oncology floor. That is a floor that deals with folks that have infusion and chemotherapy for various cancer-related health problems. My father died at the age of 33 from pancreatic cancer when I was just an infant. I never had the opportunity to meet him. My father had several brothers that died of cancer, one of a lung and two of prostate. I have my aunt, just buried her 10 days ago in Chicago. She passed of colorectal cancer. Her daughter passed away in May of this year of COPD. COPD was as a result of her smoking all of her life, or for the time till the doctor told her you shouldn't smoke anymore. Everyone has been affected by cancer, some form or another. Everyone in this room has been affected by that. I think that's a true statement. As a governing body, you have the ability to affect ordinances and decisions and laws that affect your residents. I think as a forward-thinking town has been witnessed here this evening by the things that you're doing in purchasing property and advanced ticketing and things of that nature. In this type of climate that we have, it's a good policy to have protection over your young citizens. Most people that smoke start before the age of 18. 90% of people start before the age of 21. I don't think anyone would say that we want to stop folks from having the opportunity to do what they want to do. But I would say that everyone believes that none of our friends, relatives, or residents who you preside over, you would like to see them die prematurely. And when you start smoking, which is a habit that is very hard to quit, similar to that of heroin, except for the vigorous effects of heroin withdrawal, very hard to quit. 50% of those people will die of some sort of illness. Smoking is the number one issue that is avoidable if you don't smoke. It's the number one cause of death and illness in the world. 450 million folks die of that, 450,000 Americans die from smoking-related illnesses a year. Over 11,000 residents of this great state of New Jersey die from smoking-related illnesses every year. In the 90s, there was a lot of pullback from people smoking. A lot of people, the smoking rate went down. But we have a resurgence lately with what we call e-cigarettes and hookah. I'm still a young man, but I go to parties at times and I see people smoking e-cigarettes that never smoked a cigarette a day in their life, but it's like, for lack of a better word, like it's a sexy thing now. It's like it's cool. There's no smell on you. You can go home to your parents if you're young and you don't smell like cigarettes. It's a real like hip thing, unfortunately. So there's a resurgence of the smoking rate. It's actually increasing. I see the budget as either for 2015 or 2014 for the great municipality of Nutley was about $54 million. The tobacco industry spends $27 million a day to promote smoking or to prevent folks like myself from asking you to raise this age. For those that say if someone could stand a post and fight for this great country, they should be afforded the opportunity, if they are 19 and 20, to purchase cigarettes, I say this. Has this town passed any resolution or ordinance where a member of the military has been excluded from that law? I live in Hackensack where the main street is a one-way. Should someone who serves in the military be excluded for that and be able to drive opposite of traffic? It's not being disingenuous to folks that are in the military. As a matter of fact, the military frowns on smoking. You cannot buy cigarettes at a Navy or Marine outpost or store, KP store, whatever it's called. We want our soldiers, unfortunately, who have to go to war to be fit and as physical as possible, and the service would like that as well. So they actually have policies that has been in effect since 1970, the early 80s, where they would promote smoking cessation. The government used to actually put cigarettes in the military's rations, and it unfortunately started a lot of folks smoking. It also started their children smoking, because most folks get cigarettes from their parents. We steal things from our parents. But I think that's something going forward that we should really look to benefit positive health among our citizens. This is something, excuse me, if I can get another minute. I can go on and on with statistics, but at the end of the day, in this nation, in this world, in this climate where we're in, the debates going on right now, we're talking about black and white and police and citizens and Muslims and terrorism and all this stuff. When you're lying in whatever hospital you go to, when you're a resident in Nutley and you have cancer, and you're sitting next to somebody who has cancer, whether they're black and you're white, they're male, female, Spanish, Hispanic, Muslim, whatever you are, all that is out the door. Anybody that's a sports fan, Sandy Alderson, he's have an issue with cancer right now. They say he's going to survive. That's great. My point is that no one wants to see their relative, friend, in this case your residents, die prematurely. I held my aunt's hand up to a week before she died. And to know that she was going to be gone in a week, and she could have been prevented with just a test for colorectal cancer. But when my cousin died of COPD in May, she said, it bothers me that I don't have any pain. I don't have cancer. My body doesn't hurt. But my heart is working quadruple overtime. And like your cell phone battery, it's going to stop in a matter of time. And my cousin couldn't grasp that. Like, she knew it was happening, but it bothered her even more. And I don't think anyone wants to see their relative perish from that type of illness when it can be prevented. So I ask this body to take this issue up in your next executive session. Give it some great thought. I'm going to have Karen Blumenfeld from GAS, the Global Advisory Against Smoke-Free Policy. She's going to send some information to your clerk in the morning, pass it amongst yourselves, and I'll revisit you in about 30 days. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone, and God bless.
Mr. Irwin, before you sit down, I knew I recognized you
How you
out
doing,
there.
sir?
I'm doing very well, and you are a true gentleman. And I mean that sincerely. When you and I were doing business together, you were really a professional and a true gentleman, and I'm glad that I got to know you a little bit and we became friends. But I have to tell you, for you to sit for 3 hours very patiently here tonight to bring us your message. I could assure you that we will take it under consideration. So whatever information that you have, please pass it on to the clerk. Your passion for this, Mr. Irwin, is heartfelt this evening. So again, thanks so much for sitting there for 3 hours and having the patience not to get up and walk out. And we will definitely take it into consideration.
I appreciate it. Likewise, Mr. Mayor, you're a true gentleman in this town, has a great service person like yourself, as well as the rest of the commissioners. This is a job that usually goes unheralded, so I applaud you for your service. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else this evening that would like to address the Board of Commissioners? See no one. Before we close, we have Dante in the back. Dante, you back there? I want you guys to do one thing. If you could leave the camera on the pedestal over here and come out. Is there 2 of you or 3 of you? Can you guys come out? In that little room, there's 3 of them. Why they're walking out? Is there 2 or 3? Where's he at? Come on. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I would just like to thank the 3 of you for volunteering your time, coming out here. I believe you guys are all, 3 of you are all high school students.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about what you guys do?
I'm Dante Antondola. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school. I've been doing this. Started last October. Student council president. I row on the crew team, and I'm very involved in all the stuff that goes on in school. And I'm in the process of applying to college, and I hope to go to a 4-year university and major in either history or communications.
Wonderful. Next.
I'm Dante Vacatoro. I'm also a senior in high school. I've been doing this since the first time we've been doing this. I'm very active with our radio TV broadcasting class in school. I am also applying to a 4-year college. I'm going to major in communications. Hopefully I'll be one of the next ESPN sports anchors. So
Hope so.
that's my story.
I'm Jack. I'm also a senior at
What's your last name, Jack?
Ben Shoik. Senior at Nutley High School, and hopefully I will be going to the University of Michigan next year for engineering.
That's wonderful. I just want to turn it over to Commissioner Tucci because I know he grabbed the 3 of you, but I just wanted to bring you guys out here tonight and really thank you because I know these meetings are long and I've gotten to know you guys. I know Dante, Antondola, I know your dad and your mom, but I have to tell you, and I know we crack jokes once in a while about how long these meetings go, but really from the Board of Commissioners, I wanted to bring you guys out, get your moment in the spotlight. Now you guys could be on TV too. And I want to thank you. Commissioner Tucci.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing them out. You guys do a wonderful job. I know you come from great Nutley families who have volunteered their time over the years and helped us in a myriad of areas. All right. I'd also like to thank, for the record, Jim Kelly, who I call Coach Kelly, who is the head of the visual arts department, I believe, in the high school, who helped guide you guys and help teach you guys how to do the wonderful things that you do. And for us, this is new. Filming our meetings, all right? We're looking to expand this in the future, but we can't expand unless we take the first step, and you 3 are part of that very important first step. So on behalf of not only the Board of Commissioners, but everyone in this township, I just want to thank you for your service and wish you all well.
Thank you, guys. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thanks. It's been a lot of fun doing this. We only have a little bit of time left, but learned a lot.
Thank you so much, guys.
Mayor,
Merry Christmas to you and your families.
Mayor, just real quick,
Sure.
may I suggest that
Sure.
these guys, gentlemen, obviously are applying to college, so that as part of their recommendations, if we should have a letter from the Board of Commissioners thanking them for their commitment to public.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Great. Come see us, boys. Okay.
Mayor, can I just have one more minute?
Sure, you could have, well, we're going to keep them here all night tonight.
Okay. I don't want to go overboard here. This past weekend, the Nutley Parks and Recreation Department put on Annie Junior, which included 39 of our youngsters from grade 3 to 8. The mayor and I had the privilege of being there and witnessing one of the shows together. I was there for several of the shows, all right, and I have to tell you, they did such a wonderful job, and I'd just like to publicly thank everyone here for their support of our program and in providing the appropriate funding so we can do that. This is one of the few township plays that actually turn a profit. And what we're going to do is take all of those dollars and dedicate them to our next performance, which will probably happen right around the same time next year. But I want to thank our producer and our director, Abby Miles and James Miles III, for all their hard work, and all of the folks in the Parks Department, Teresa Vinci, Linda Hamilton, Gabriella Costa, all the guys in the back, and everyone else who made this such a success. And if I might, just to circle back a little bit, because I know there was a question about concerning that the Ciccolini property and what the motivation was. And I know there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of questions answered. To me, it's real simple, all right? The property became available. It's been the source of parking spaces for businesses in that end. All right, so number one, we need to maintain those spots and expand them if possible. Number two, what we don't want in any section of the township is development or redevelopment by accident. By purchasing this property, we can control what goes there in a very public way. This is the beginning of the process. We can, in fact, do better in communicating and letting our folks know what steps we're taking and where we're going. But I just want everyone to rest assured that this Board of Commissioners has nothing but the best intentions possible for this township. And not only this action, but all of our actions, as with the Davis property, as with Hoffman LaRoche, we work overtime and double time by choice, all right? Because it's not for the money. And we do it because we love this township and we want this township not only to survive but to thrive moving forward. And unless we take the bold steps that are necessary to assure that, this township can in fact go the way of many others. And I don't think there's anybody sitting up here or anyone at home or in the audience that ever wants to see that happen. So rest assured, we will take every action necessary, some popular, some not so popular, to make sure that this township continues to thrive. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner, thank you so much. That was well said. And I have to compliment you on that Annie play. That was one of the best plays I was ever at. You would really think you're at a Broadway production. The sound system, everything was great. And as I said, when you were so gentlemanlike to bring me up there and introduce me, these are the things that really set Nutley apart from the rest. It's all these community projects, community affairs that we have, and our people going above and beyond. Your Parks and Rec department really did a great job. Annie, all those little girls and the boys had unbelievable voices. There's a lot of talent here in Nutley. Really job well done. So, on that note, I would like to, I have a reminder here. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, December 31st at 9 a.m. in the morning, right here at Town Hall on the 3rd floor. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I would like to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, a happy Hanukkah, all the holidays, whatever you're celebrating, you're residents of Nutley, and we're glad to have you all here. This Thursday, I'd like to invite all the commissioners. I spoke to Commissioner Rogers today. I am having a party at the VFW for the veterans, a little holiday party. If there's any Nutley veterans out there, I hope this airs before Thursday. They're more than welcome to come down for a free dinner, and I hope that the Board of Commissioners will join us there for that party. So without a further ado, happy holidays. We'll see you at our next meeting. Good night.
Need a motion?
To adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarpelli?
Aye.
Mayor Petracco?
Aye, thank you.
And the time is 9:44.